go ahead and get started. Two really good competitive football teams. Rocky and I are close friends. We met a long time at the field before the game and knew that it was going to be a really hard-fought game. And it certainly turned out that way. There are a lot of ebbs and flows within this game. I want to congratulate our players because last week was a tough loss, and particularly the guys that played defense. I thought they responded really well. Pumphrey's an excellent running back, and thought we tackled much better today, and we established the line of scrimmage. Guys hung in there. We had to overcome some adversity. I believe San Diego State's an excellent football team, and we were able to come up with a big win for our program. So at this time, questions?
Craig, what does it say too? What I know, Sydney wasn't out there today.
Oh.
Right, and Chase goes
Chase
down.
went down.
He's probably, I don't know if he's done, but basically had two interior defensive linemen
Right.
in there, and that's it.
And
So-
Josiah Hall went down too.
And Josiah Hall went down.
Yeah, there's another one to add to your list. And so, we were, and one of the reasons why I called the 2 timeouts on the last play of the game was just to give our guys at least a couple more minutes to get some breathing in. And, it was a great ball game. I really commend the guys that were out there, like you said, Connor Cain and Johanna Gaffon, guys that are down in the trenches that you don't notice a lot. And we got knocked around last week. And I think they really took that personal, came in. San Diego State's an excellent offensive line. I thought we maintained the line of scrimmage very well today.
Yeah, Coach, I'm sorry, Craig, do you have any updates on these injured guys right now? What
No.
you've been told right now or anything?
No, we'll find out a little bit more tomorrow. We just knew they weren't able to go.
Coach, what does it say about your team to regroup there after that lengthy review and come back out on the field after it looked like you'd won the game and then you end up winning on Antonio's knockdown?
Yeah, it shows a lot of resolve and belief, and we talked about that after our pregame meal. To believe in one another, believe what the coaches are coaching you to do, trust your teammates, and play with confidence. And, it came down to a play. And, it was a big play, but there were a lot of big plays in this ball game.
Coach, how was your defense able to slow down Pumphrey today?
Well, I thought we did a really good job of maintaining gap control. We talked about establishing the line of scrimmage. A lot of their blockers weren't able to get into second levels. And I thought our secondary linebackers played their assignments for the most part. There was a couple breakdowns, but they tackled well. They were in the right spot, and that we just didn't give him much room to run. I don't know how many yards he got. I'm sure he got some, but and he's a great football player. And I believe that's a really good football team. And so this is a really special win for us.
Coach, what do you attribute the struggles in the kickoff game to, and how tough was it to kind of overcome?
Yeah, well, that's difficult. Usually, very rarely do you give up one kickoff return and yet 2. A couple things came into play. At this time of the year, our depth on a lot of special team players, because when we get a guy injured, that really became apparent. I think we can probably kick the ball better than what we did. And they had good players back there. A.J. Cooper had talked and said, Coach, they have a lot of big returns, and sometimes their guys making plays. To overcome 2 kickoff returns is unique to win. And I think it's also, another credit to our defense, the guys that played the line of scrimmage, because there was 14 points that, they didn't have anything to do with.
Craig, what'd you like offensively? I mean, I know Trish had the 1 turnover, maybe looked like he maybe was trying to do too much early,
Yeah.
but then settled down, and then 487 yards on that defense, and
Oh, that's
you guys
the-
drove it
right.
in the second half. I mean, that was
That's impressive. I think we need to start with the offensive line. They have a very disruptive defensive scheme with disruptive players. I thought we did a nice job getting man on man. Josh took care of the football as the game went along. We did get some running plays going, and I thought Josh did some things with his legs. And then he extended some plays downfield that he wouldn't normally been able to do. I thought, for the most part, we were able to protect pretty well. But when he got out on the, out in the open, he was able to make some things happen, both with his arms and his legs.
Coach, you guys were tied and then kind of playing catch up throughout the game. What did you tell your guys to keep in it and stay motivated throughout the whole game and kind of pull away at the end?
That's part of our mantra. This is a really resilient, unified football team. And a lot of those things start in the off-season conditioning. So they've believed in that. We knew it at home, 7,200 feet does make a difference, even though we had a lot of TV breaks. I think the biggest thing is just a mentality to never doubt, never quit. And that's part of whether we say we've turned a corner from that standpoint. I think you have to say we have. We've won some close games here. We lost a close game. But, the veteran media people who followed us, we haven't seen that before, probably for quite a while. And so it's really been enjoyable to see.
Can you talk about the confidence you have in the offense right now? You go for that 4th and 1.
Right.
Yeah. Could you just talk a little bit about your thought process?
Well, somebody says, Coach, you like to go to Vegas, and, we're doing that enough right there. A lot of it, there's things that Coach Vigen's done really good in the short yardage game, and, some of it, you're right, it's our confidence. It starts with the guys up front, also starts with the trigger guy. Josh Allen's really a guy that can make some good decisive plays in those situations, and we've got a good tailback.
Coach, your defense still gave up 33 points, but as opposed to last week, do you feel like they came out and responded tonight?
There's no doubt. I'll say that. That was a really good offense, and both of those tailbacks are good, a big offensive line. I was really pleased with how our defensive guys responded and played really well tonight, or this afternoon.
C.J. Johnson scores your game winner, and obviously we hear a lot about Tanner, Jake, and well, we should, but was there a little, were they kind of laying off him, or is that just, can you kind of talk about that? Did you think you maybe
C.J.?
Yeah, exploit some things with C.J. since maybe they were paying a lot of attention to the other two guys?
I wouldn't say so much laying off. We believe C.J.'s really got good talent, and he's an emerging player. He's gotten stronger. He's playing with more confidence. He's deceptively fast, and he's got excellent hands, and so it was good to see him out there making that play.
Did you have any a chance to talk to the defense before the 2-point try?
You know what? I had talked to our defensive coordinator, and I fully anticipated that they would make a run for 2, and I thought Coach Stanner dialed up a really good call.
Coach, how much growth have you seen from Cooper, in his freshman year to go back out there and do kickoffs again and hit a few big field goals?
Right. You know what? Freshman year is a learning year, and ideally it's good to redshirt. I thought he responded really well. There was times that, he didn't kick the ball well, but those kicks late in the game were really, really critical. And and he's hitting field goals, and we'll continue to work with him.
How much do you think you won the time of possession battle, 36-23, and you had 84 offensive plays to their 58? Do you think you just wore them down a little bit in that play?
Yeah, and some of that happens when you get you score a kickoff return. Your defense is right back out there. We've been on the other side of it, and that factors in sometimes in time of possession. That can be a double-edged sword. I think 7,200 feet makes a difference. Some people don't think so. I'm not a great jogger, but I can tell you it makes a difference with me.
Coach, you essentially play next week for the not much championship game. Do you approach the game any different?
Well, first of all, we're going to take 24 hours and recoup here. I know I am. When you play in a big game like this, you dance with who brung you. The tried and true fundamentals that have put us in position, we're going to accentuate those things. Recognize that there's a lot on the line, but you can't go in playing scared to lose. We got a big challenge and a great opportunity, and so we'll get to New Mexico next week tonight. I'm going to sit back with my family and enjoy the time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kind of take us through the game-winning touchdown. What was the play? Was it supposed to go to you? Did Josh check out? Kind of take us through it if you could.
So it was like it's like a read. It's a read off the safety, and they're playing zero coverage, so they didn't have any safeties over the top. They were all down in the box. So right away I saw this, I was like, I hope Josh shows it to me, because I think I'll be wide open. And he said he saw me the whole way, and so he threw it up, and I had to go up and get it.
How do you think this? The offense was very good throughout. It's maybe a few stalls in the second half.
Yeah.
It's really almost kind of dominated. I mean, did you guys make any adjustments, more like settle down, or what was kind of the biggest difference?
Our coaching staff, they do a great job at reading what they give us in the first half, and then making changes at halftime. And so we just go out and listen to what they say, and it was a pretty dominant second half. It was fun to play in.
CJ,
We just had to get up and get excited. It was senior day. It was pretty easy to do that. You know, all the seniors very emotional, you know, and we all just put that loss last week behind us. Like the coaches said, don't let a team beat you twice. So we knew we had to come with our A game today, so that's what we did.
What are your thoughts? I know you enjoy this one, but playing for a divisional title next week.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's big. You know, we can't sleep on New Mexico. They're tied with us before the game at 5-1 for the top. And so we can't just brush them off. You know, we want to see San Diego State again on December 3rd here, so we're definitely taking this 100% serious.
You had 5 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. Were you planning to have a pretty big day in the offense?
No, I was just going to go out there and, you know, maybe get 1 or 2 catches like I usually do and help out as much as I can. But they were, you know, we have one of the best receivers in the nation at Tanner Gentry, and they were showing a lot of double teaming him, and so it left me open quite a bit. So, you know, I just took all my opportunities and, you know, just ran with them.
Just how much of a gut punch is it on the kickoff return touchdowns, and what's it say about you guys that you were able to come back?
That's tough because Coach Group takes his special teams very serious, and to see those little blunders, I mean, I know they're going to get fixed, but I'm glad that we were able to bounce back and, you know, just kind of, you know, put those behind us and just keep moving forward.
You're going to be one of the veteran guys coming back next year. You mentioned Tanner before. How much has he been instrumental in your growth as a receiver?
He's been wonderful. You know, he does everything right. You know, he's a workout warrior. He runs great routes. He can catch the ball. Everything he does, I can just learn from him. Him and Jake, they're both great receivers and great, you know, older mentors.
CJ, for non-athletes like us, I feel like we can feel it from the sideline. With Josh Allen, you just never feel like you're out of the ball game. You guys feel like that on offense? You're always in that game?
Yeah, I remember thinking that last week against UNLV, like when we were down on the 1-yard line and we had to do that, you know, less than a minute left and march down the field. I was like, you know, we have probably one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, and he can, you know, do a bunch of magic running around, slinging the ball. So yeah, with Josh, like he's unbelievable. So it don't, you know, never count us out, I would say.
Could you describe that interminable wait while they reviewed that last?
Oh, man, I saw, you know, we have on our Hail Mary, we have to have people in behind the guy in front and then a guy jumping. So they did that, and the guy, you know, he fell to the ground, and I was like, there's no way he caught that. And then, you know, seeing that he caught that, it was a little stab in the stomach. But then seeing they're going for 2, I had faith in our defense. I knew that they could get the job done. So, you know, I'm glad Noodles, you know, they all stayed disciplined and were able to stop them. Awesome.
That was sweet.
Guys, congratulations. Getting a little bit thin on numbers there. You know, you lose Chase. I know even a defensive end, Josiah goes down. What was that like? Because mostly, at least interior-wise, it was mostly you guys today.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to how we practice. It comes down to the little things that we do at practice. Just, you know, we do so many reps, and we're always going, and we're always flying around, that when somebody goes down like that, it's kind of a next man up situation, and it's just sort of like, what is the next man going to do to get the job done? That's kind of the attitude we take. So me and Johanna, that was kind of what happened.
What did you guys do so effectively to kind of not shut down, but slow down Pump 3 enough today, do you feel, in that ground attack?
Yeah, you can't talk. I would just say it came down to our get off the ball, our speed off the ball. You know, it all comes down to when you're establishing the line of scrimmage, it really comes down to who gets off the fastest and the lowest. So I would say, you know, today, you know, we were just able to get off a lot faster than they were, and we were able to play our technique quicker than they were, and, you know, it was pretty fun. It was a good time playing out there.
It helped 2 guys that, I mean, and not to make excuses, but you're on the field 97 plays at UNLV last week. I think, 58 maybe today, or right in that neighborhood. Did you just feel you weren't out there as much? I mean, just sheer number of plays. Did that help, you think, especially for you guys inside, that there just wasn't a lot of depth to work in there?
Yeah, you know, it definitely, you know, when they said, basically, they told me and Johanna at the halftime, they were like, you know, you guys are going. You're the only 2 out there. So, you know, you felt like that, like you said, that you were out there a little bit less, but at the same time, you know, when you're out there every single play of the second half, and you know, we were in there most of the first half, you know, you just sort of get into a mindset. It doesn't really become anything you think about. You just think about doing your job every single play. So at least that's how I take it. You want to say anything?
I'm sorry, I can't really talk.
You know, I know, you know, Coach Bohl has the 24-hour rule. Enjoy this, but you're playing for a divisional championship next week, and maybe a chance to host a championship game. Given that much thought yet, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it'd be coming from where we were last year to this year. I mean, it speaks to the guys in the locker room. It speaks to the work that we've done from January to this point. So I mean, the fact that we have the opportunity to play for a Mountain Division championship next week, and then maybe get an opportunity at the Mountain West Championship in Laramie. I mean, it's huge. It's huge for the state, and it's big for the guys in that locker room. And we do it for each other. I mean, that's the biggest part. You know, we're playing every single week for each other. So we're going to move on to New Mexico, and you know, it's the next game on the schedule. So we got to knock down New Mexico.
Just another day at the office, huh, Jeff?
Yes, sir. We're 6-0 here for a reason. You know, the crowd was amazing tonight, and obviously a lot of extra motivation with senior night, and just glad we can finish here how we did tonight.
Josh, you know, you guys were, you know, did a lot of stuff. Early on, it was a little hit and miss. Was it just, obviously, they're a good defense for a reason. Were you pressing a little bit? Because in the second half, you guys pretty much dominated them offensively.
Yeah, first half, you know, it was just really about getting a feel for what they were doing. You know, they did a lot of things that we didn't think they were going to do early on, and you know, we just kind of got caught in a couple situations with their defense. So we came in, and coaches, you know, had a great adjustment to our game plan, and worked out well in the second half.
Take us through that game-winning score. What did you see develop on that play, finding CJ behind the defense?
Well, it was a play-action pass. I was supposed to stay in pocket, but I felt right before the snap they were bringing bros. They're bringing up their two linebackers right up the middle. So I kind of got myself outside of the pocket, and I knew we had a field across breaking route with CJ, and just kind of let him go make a play, and he did.
Josh, in that second half, did it start feeling almost like that Boise State game a couple weeks ago when you guys were on the field there? You're kind of behind, but you kept pushing, and finally got a lead. Did it feel similar to that game?
It really did. It felt extremely similar. It's just, you know, playing here in front of this crowd and at this elevation, it's hard to play for 4 quarters when you're an away team. And that's something San Diego State hasn't really done a lot this year, was had to play in the 4th quarter. So we knew if we can be within reach in the 4th that it was going to benefit us in the long run.
So much, you know, you guys got, you know, Brian got going, got the pass game going, 487 yards, I think 80-some plays. I know we talked a lot last week how needed to sustain drives and finish drives and stuff. Just how gratifying is it to not just get the win, but to kind of, you know, pose your will, so to speak, offensively on especially on these guys? It
was big, especially coming off you know, a disappointing game last week. We took last week's game to heart, and this past week has just been a grind, and it's been you know, mentally not frustrating, but it was a lot of stuff that they do, and to come out and, you know, perform it as we did is just a huge, you know, compliment to our coaches and to our, you know, every single one on this team for having you know, that it factor.
Josh, you still have work to do, but you guys have beaten the 2 perceived to be heavyweights of the Mountain West Conference this year, Boise State and then today San Diego State. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it's not going to mean anything if we can't get next week done. Ultimately, our goal is to win the Mountain West, you know, championship, and obviously, no one thought we could do it before the season, and we use that as extra motivation. So, as the moment, it's a win to get into the Mountain West Conference championship, and you know, this week's going to be huge, and we know that, and we're going to game plan and play as such.
Josh, was the turnover margin, was that talked about before the game? Explain that to me if it was.
Absolutely. So Coach Vegan, our offensive coordinator, gives us you know, a baseline of 3 keys to win this game, and our baseline for turnovers was 0. Obviously, that didn't happen. I threw an interception, and shouldn't have happened. So, but you know, our defense came up big with another fumble near the goal line or near the red zone, which allowed us to put 3 points up. And in a game like this, you know, every point counts, and you saw that in the last play.
Was there any talk amongst the offense for Brian Hill to have a big day going up against Pumphrey on the other side?
You know, it's just a little extra motivation for Brian. I know Pumphrey's kind of mentioned that they had the best 3 running backs in the Mountain West Conference. And I know Brian kind of took that lightly, but at the same time, he took it to heart. And they might have 3 of the best 4, but we've got the #1 running back in the conference. And, he's a determined man, and he shows that when he runs. He's not going to be taken down by one person.
Josh, can you explain the play where you guys tied the game?
Yeah. Didn't I already do that?
I thought you talked about the go-ahead score.
Oh, the tie to Jake.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Coaches made a suggestion before the play that we saw their cornerback really biting on an outside route, and we just, we had the perfect play call on. Tanner, he did a 5-yard out route, and we had Mahart on the outside running the takeoff, and was just able to squeeze the ball in there, and Mahart went and made a play.
Play before that was pretty crazy too. I mean, you almost went out of bounds and then throwing it back across.
Yeah, actually, I didn't see him catch it. I threw the ball, and all the redshirt guys were there, and the panel of sponsors. So I threw it, and I was running around, and just boom, I was on my back. So, and then I heard the crowd go wild, and it was incompletion.
We've talked a lot this season about the resolve of this team. I mean, we returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns,
Yeah.
and guys are going down on defense, but you're finding ways, like overcome a turnover. I mean, there's so many things that happen there. You look like you had a 1. They did end up scoring that. Defense has to make another play. I mean, can you even put towards the resolve of this football team this season?
I've said it probably 100 times. We have a special group of guys, and when you get the guys that we have, and put a mindset in them that never get down on yourself, and we're always in a game, and that speaks volumes, because man, this group is. I love these guys. These are my brothers.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Brian.
Brian, congratulations, another big win, and a lot of it was made of Donnell Pumphrey and the defense stopped him, and you outgained him. Does that make any difference to you at all, or does it just matter what happened on that scoreboard?
No, I'm just happy we got the win. I'm happy we still in the hunt for the Mountain West Championship, and we got one more game to go.
As far as what he said earlier in the week, is that a little bit extra motivation for you today?
I had no control over what he did. I only had control over what I did, and every game I'm trying to do my best. But it definitely gave the defense a little extra motivation, and they showed it out there.
Brian, I know you're worried about offense, what you got to do, but the defense kind of had a tough time last week, and they really did some. They really stepped up today. At least from your standpoint, what did you think of the defense today?
It was just a different energy level. We came out and we wanted to stop them. They wanted to prove a point, and I think they did.
How long was that final minutes there where the review's taking forever? What's happening once you guys kind of rush the field, think you win, and then it gets called back, and then you end up winning after all? What was going through your mind?
I just hear the whistles while I'm halfway across the field. We got to go back. All the excitement's gone. We got to get ready on offense, knowing we might have to play overtime. Then they went for 2, and the defense stepped up again. So it just all came back.
There's been so many things, there's been comebacks and stuff, but in this one, 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns against you. Defensive guys going down, just the thing that David just said with having to wait and then make a play. Can you put into words the resolve and the resiliency of this team?
It's going to be hard to win a game when you give up 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. But our team never wavered. We never panicked. We went out there and did what we were supposed to do on offense and defense.
Brian, you didn't lose a home game all season. Do you feel like there was some extra magic in there all year long?
I feel like we definitely taking advantage of our home field, and hopefully we'll get to play another one. But we got to make sure we can handle business next week.